Yeah, it's a good mix for both of us to be able to make sure that he has to understand at this level, teams try to do everything they can to knock you off your timing. Timing's so critical and important. But then we as coaches, I think that's some of the fun part is for us to be able to find creative ways for guys, whoever it is, to be able to get free releases, and especially a guy like him that has all that speed. So it'll be critical making sure that there's a balance between both of us.
What have you thought of him the last week?
He's done great. He's really, every day just grow a little bit. I think it's important for myself to make sure that he understands that this is not going to be a race to the finish line in a week or two. Like, this is something that's going to happen over time. I've used some experiences that I've been in before with younger players that I've been able to be with for several years, and been using that as examples to him of, hey, listen, in time, be patient. Don't get frustrated. It's going to be good for you in the end, as long as you can step back and see the big picture. His attitude's been phenomenal. We knew the person, and the kid is great. You know, he's got a great attitude. So just putting it all together now and you know, taking it and running with it.
Coach, the last week and a half you've used Generic as a second back. Just
Yeah.
how ready do you feel like he is for that role?
Well, we'll see. I think he's, as far as him being here now with us a couple years, it's important for him to know that he's going to get opportunities, which is what the preseason is all about. When you get out there, you get opportunity, what are you going to do with it? He's in that spot right now. So he's worked hard to get to that point. Protection is going to be critical. We saw last year when he came into here what he was able to do in the pass game, 7-on-7, OTAs. Now we got to step it up. More than anything, mentally, where are you at? Can you be able to know that we're going to be able to trust you in protections and then making your assignments work?
Matt, last year, you know, penalties were obviously one of the issues on offense. We had a lot of penalties, especially the offensive line. How do you feel like, in retrospect, that did kind of hamper things last year? And
How do you think what? I'm sorry.
How do you feel like the penalties hampered things last year on the offense? And how have you seen the improvement, especially with Juwan and some of the technique counts that he's made?
Right. So it was something where, for us, we knew that there was the issue with JT, with some of the false starts and the alignments, and it became a big deal. Penalties that you have set you back. So you're looking at 2nd and long, you're looking at 1st and long, you're looking at creating a 1st down on 3rd down or a big play in the red zone, and now all of a sudden you got to reset and do it again. Our guys are aware of that, but we don't, I think, going into a new season, it is just that, it's a new season, and we make sure that we focus in and lock in on the fundamentals of being smart and staying away from penalties. But they're going to happen, but it can't be repetitive like they were last year. We got to stay away from that, and if we do that, we stay positive with the yards, we think we can be pretty good on offense.
Have you seen improvement from Juwan as far as his changing technique this year?
What's that?
An improvement
Yeah,
from Juwan?
yeah, I think so. I think there's been a good improvement for him with, you're not seeing it right now. Now we'll see when we get in the game, but he's probably locked in a little bit himself as well and making sure that we don't get into that pattern of the false starts. But he's done great with it, and I think in general, now today we did some backed up situational stuff, and so it's emphasizing the cadence backed up.
What do you think so far of what you've seen at left tackle? You know Wanya a little bit more, but now you're a couple weeks into this with Kingsley.
So far, it's a healthy competition. I think the guys have had great attitudes. Again, I'm going to keep going back to that word opportunity. We next several weeks here, they're going to get opportunities to prove who should be that guy at left tackle.
What puts you over the edge to win the job, and what is the quality, I guess, you're looking for?
It's incremental. It's not one play. So if a guy goes out and has a great play in a protection or in the run game, he's got to do that over and over again. Consistency. So if you can be consistent with doing what we're looking for, what Coach Heck and Corey Matei are teaching, what Coach Reed wants schematically, if you can do that consistently, it's never going to be perfect. They're both young, and we understand that. And I think we're all lucky and fortunate that we have a quarterback in Patrick that has a phenomenal pocket awareness, especially at left tackle on your blind side.
What's it been like finally having Xavier and Rice and Hollywood out there at the same time, and how, I know it's early, how does this year's receiving corps maybe, how is it different than the previous years?
Yeah, it's something for us where we're very optimistic in the fact of knowing that you got a lot of speed out there. You got guys that really haven't worked together yet. So being able to put those 3 guys together in unison, schematically, learning how to win versus man, having a great feel and learning how to get open for Pat in zone. Kelsey's phenomenal at that versus zone. So how they get to watch Kelsey in zone. So it's important that the three of those guys get together and we can just kind of move them around like different pieces to the puzzle, and then they got to make plays. And I think the one thing that you see from all three of those guys is they got phenomenal tracking ability of the ball when it's in the air.
Let's go two more.
Having Clyde back in practice for the last 2 days, can you maybe speak about that? Can you also just speak about who he is as a person and how grateful you are to have him back?
Clyde's been great. I really enjoy Clyde having him around. He's a veteran. He's somebody that just has a calming presence to being back there. We talk about with Deneric Prince as a younger guy coming in, learning protections. Clyde has all the protections down. He knows the timing of screens. He knows his patience in the hole as a running back. And then as a person, he's just a special human being. He has a great balance of on the field and off the field, and I think it shows, and it shows with his teammates and his coaches.
Matt, I know you guys do your homework on draft picks like Xavier, free agents like Hollywood, but does anything surprise you just getting around them every day?
I wouldn't say anything surprises me, but the biggest thing is probably just their ability to push through tough times. These training camps with Coach Reed are tough, and those guys know it, they've heard it, and they've been able to stay consistent when they're tired. Don't feel sorry for yourself. We got to get to the next play. When you're out there, if you have a drop, don't drop the next one, but be positive. And Pat does a phenomenal job at doing that. We as coaches want to extend that, but really proud of him.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Clyde, you mentioned you tweeted about some PTSD things and some kind of mental things you've been going through.
Yeah.
What's your day-to-day like? I mean, like, what are you dealing with? If you'd like to talk about it or not, I don't know.
As far as day-to-day since, December 22nd, 2018, that's my best friend and I got into, I had a self-defense situation, and I would say that's probably where majority of, things stem from, but I wouldn't necessarily say, everything stemmed from that. I mean, I have best friends that, passed away from young ages from, gun violence and just not being in the right places at the right time, and just knowing that I have, people that was, close to me or around me who's not in the situation or could be in the same spots that I am. But, just like when I go back home, I'm visiting, some of my friends who are, at grave sites and doing those things. So it's different when you feel like your whole life is, football player or everything is geared towards this, but it's so much more to, just putting the pads on. And like I say, it's like you ask day to day. It's not just that. It's, I'm school, just got married. It's so many things that comes with a person. But I feel like, that's kind of one of my main things.
When did you start trying to care for yourself mentally after that incident? Did you just push it away for a while?
I would say with that happening at such a young age, my first couple of years, you just try to block everything out and at some point I'm gonna get over it, and you start to realize that just doesn't happen. You get older and you realize, hey, no matter the age, no matter the person, no matter the situation, everyone needs help at some point, and it's just being able to kind of step up and know, no, this is the help I need, or this is what I need to ask for. And even talking with my dad, talking with my mom. She was in the Army. My dad, past Marine, ex-cop. So he's sent me books. We've communicated back and forth. It's not just, I have my support system here, but I also have my support system home. And I feel like that's the biggest thing. I'll say now I'm probably the most level-headed and clear that I've probably been within the last five or 6 years.
You tweet that the chief staff helped you get through your latest struggles.
Yeah.
Is there some sort of treatment or some sort of help that they're giving you that you really want to point out?
To really go step by step, man, that'll be a Julie Freimeyer question. I know everybody knows that name. She's amazing, and even Rick Bockholder, he's also amazing. Anything that I need, I just kind of communicate to them, let them know just kind of how I'm feeling, and it's a funnel of things that they go through initially when they were asking me the questions, just trying to see, you know, my temperament of certain things. Not really big on taking medicine, so it's more of just having different mechanisms of coping and having people to talk to who actually know or, you know, could help me through those situations. And it's not just the medical staff. I mean, all the way down to, you know, we have Schaefer and, you know, some of the guys who are on our security staff who, you know, ex-cops, ex-Marines, or just those things. I mean, I'm a guy who can talk to anybody. And I mean, if I can get the help from, I mean, even if it's one of you guys who I feel experienced something or I could talk to, or a different coping mechanism that they feel help them, I try my best to get whatever I need for help so I can come out here and perform.
What would your message be to someone who's going through this like you have?
Honestly, it just takes the courage to talk about it, and having PTSD and dealing with it. Once people kind of bring it up, it's not something that I always want to talk about because I never really know how my body will react or my mind. It's just something that, you know, I can't really pinpoint or know exactly what's going to happen, but really just having that safe space. And I feel like right now, within those past 2 years, and actually being open with my dad, I mean, because it was points that he told me things that I feel like he never told anybody. I mean, even guys that's probably part of his platoon, or guys that he was deployed with, probably, you know, haven't heard the stories, or they know exactly what he's going through, but they haven't talked about it, to kind of let that release go. So I feel like talking is a big thing, but it's just getting over that hump personally, being able to know that, honestly, you know, just everybody goes through things, good, bad, just being able to cope with it and know everybody's human, and everybody, you know, it's some point it's a stepping stone. I just 25 years old, just trying to live the rest of my life healthy.
How much does a bond with someone like Isaiah? It seems like you guys become really close. Help with that day-to-day.
Yeah, I mean, it's having a guy that, you know, I'm coming in the locker room, he's gonna be smiling. Even if so, I feel like a lot of guys kind of tend to me for that spark. And as guys say I'm goofy, I feel like I'm kind of aware of my surroundings most of the time, but it's just being able to kind of spread that energy. And it's like, if I'm that Debbie Downer or that guy that's not going to bring the energy, like, what else are you going to bring? So I feel like I kind of rubbed off on Isaiah early on, just because, I mean, it's a learning path, it's a learning curve. I mean, I've had ups and downs through my past 5 years here. It's just being able to smile and get through it, and that's those things. He's dealt with injuries. He's dealt with, you know, those ups and downs, and I mean, 2 Super Bowls, 2 years. He's on his high horse, and it's just being able to come in on those bad days, on those good days, and still be able to smile, and I feel like that's the best part.
Clyde, with PTSD, what are you on the worst days? What are you dealing with? What's that like for you?
Honestly, man, I really, I have PTSD and sickly vomiting syndrome. So it's something that's kind of neurologically that they just kind of help me with and walk through it. And I mean, sometimes I'm admitted into the hospital, something like can't stop throwing up, and it's just, I can't, like, nothing pretty much to stop it. And the only person who kind of put me in the right direction was Julie Frymeyer early on, to get me some of the meds at the time when I am probably going through an episode, to get me over that hump. But it's real bad dehydration, dropping real fast. But it's really just mentally just not being there, and it's one of those things where, you know, early on, like, guys who kind of pay attention, Trav, Kadarius at times, they can even, like, they'll know, like, ahead of time, like, okay, Clyde he's not laughing, he's not giggling, he's not himself. Like, we just got to make sure we checking on him as the person, not to just be out here, the energy giver, the laugher, the guy that kind of keeps the locker room going. I feel like, you know, that's a big part of what I bring. And then once my number called, you know, it's go out there and perform, and they know it's no question with that. So I feel like that's just what it is.
Is there a message that you'd like to get out to maybe other people that are dealing with PTSD?
I would say dealing with PTSD, seek help when possible, but don't make it a burden on a person that's dealing with PTSD. Take little steps, walk them through certain things. Don't try to be overwhelming, and then try to not bring up the trauma as much as possible. Even after, unfortunately after the parade, I either went on Facebook or Twitter also, and I just kind of wanted to remind everybody in KC, like, it's not something that you want to keep bringing up. You never want to bring up past traumas or bad things, because, I mean, you never really know what funnel that'll bring the next person down, or what situation or what spot that they were in during that time. So try to lead in positive direction, and I feel like being a football player and kind of being that stand-up guy and guys who are looked up to, feel like it was at least my job or some guys to kind of step up and talk about the things that some people feel vulnerable enough not to talk about.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Clyde.
Thanks, Clyde. Physically, after the injury, kind of gross to everybody. You feeling 100%? Everything good?
No, yeah, I'm feeling good. I know I'm kind of sweaty. We get on practice, but overall, I'm feeling pretty good. Recovery going well, was well. Now, just my preparation is probably the main thing I look forward to, as far as day in and day out. And camp give me the opportunity to really see what works, what don't work, going into the season. It's a love-hate relationship, if I'm being honest with you. I get a chance to work on my things, but at the same time, like the sun and the heat and the pads, all that stuff kind of can get taxed on your body. But I said love-hate relationship, definitely, but I'm definitely excited for the challenge.
How do you feel about the way the secondary is coming together? Obviously,
How bad? Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. How do you feel like the secondary is coming together? Obviously, LJ's not here this year, but Jamari playing expanded roles, you guys in the mix, and Kelvin. How do you feel it's come along so far?
It's come along pretty well. Everything takes time. Everything that that you want to be polished in a way that we can be able to compete at the highest level coming the season. You're going to take little rinks and kinks. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we missing the guy. Well, not missing the guy. LJ had went on and moved on. So props to him. But now we have opportunity to come together as a team with new faces and new guys to be brought to the system. So it's a challenge, but we're looking pretty good so far.
You've always been a guy that's gone 100 miles an hour. Have you been able to get back to that speed after the injury in this game so far?
Yeah, for sure. It's every day just kind of pushing the throttle a little more and see what I can do, what I can't do. You know what I'm saying? But that's what camp is for.
Brian, how challenging was last year to have to watch from the sideline, and how did you manage to stay positive throughout that initial rehab?
It was challenging. The hardest part is realizing like your guys out there battling, you can't do anything to help them. But at the end of the day, like shout out to them, they got the job done. So it wasn't that bad. You look at the end, you know what I'm saying? I was able to recover, they got the job done on the back end, and I have an opportunity now to represent myself and where I am now in today's time.
Hey Brian, Xavier caught that deep one today. What's the challenge going up against him every
it's speed, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, we speed, was in zero coverage, so, some things like that. I said, work on different techniques, work on different things, what can work and what can't work. So this is the day where, one thing, okay, I got beat. So now you go to the drawing board and see what I can do next.
How good of a look is that giving you guys? Just all the
Oh, it's great, yeah. They have 4-3, 4-2, 4-3, 4-2, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a lot of work on our back end, but it's that every day we keep grinding, we get a chance to compete with them on the highest level. Obviously, 1-5 back there throwing the pill the way he is. So it's just every day is a competition. Every day we look forward to it.
Brandon, what was involved in the injury? It seems like you had a history.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. What was involved in the injury? And did you have a previous injury in that ankle too?
Yeah, so the same injury, honestly, I had, I broke my tibia bone. This is the outside part of your ankle in college. So I had to repair that in college. And then last year, the week 13 against the Packers, I kind of re-injured it. I kind of like, I just basically tell you the truth. I kind of just basically ruptured the tie rope that was already in there, and kind of like I think tore my deltoid ligament as well. So he went in, repaired that, repaired the tie rope, added another tie rope in there, and then added anchor. So I got a little metal on my ankle for sure. So it's all good though. We still back here. We still back out here.
I know when it happened, Coach kind of said a little something like that you had a previous injury that might have helped. I mean, was that kind of accurate? I mean, did you?
What's that? Say that again?
That it kind of helped with this injury that maybe it didn't make it as worse as it could have been. Or
Oh yeah. So the fact that I had the hardware in there prior kind of saved me from like basically like destructing the whole ankle as a whole. You know what I'm saying? But still, obviously, I had to get surgery on it again. But having that hardware in it before kind of protected it from getting worse, or being a worse recovery for me.
Couple more.
How would you say the defense overall as a whole unit looks so far in camp?
Look pretty good. We halfway through, you know what I'm saying? We stuck some days together, obviously. We have, like you mentioned like the other day, we have days where they obviously can get us, but day in and day out, we can still compete and we're still challenging ourselves, challenging them, playing to play out, and it's paying off in the long run.
Brian, we heard Steve earlier this camp say that he was tracking who punched the ball out more. Are you leading that right now? How is the rankings?
I believe so, yeah. I believe so. But it's sneaky because I think it's me, somebody else right next to me, and it's definitely some competition for it. But try to find ways to get the ball, in our hands, and in the game it will help out, especially when we have 1-5 on our team again.
I'm sure the defense is still trying to find its identity, but here in the early days, can you maybe shed some light on what that could be?
I'm about to say it again.
Like, what's the identity of the defense this year?
I mean, honestly, we're still trying to figure that out. I know one thing though, definitely going to be some effort, definitely going to be some tenacity, and attitude.
Patrick's always talked about, going against the best defense, and you guys going up against one of the best quarterbacks, not the best quarterback in the league. What is it like when he says that about you guys, and you go up against him and practice every single day?
Oh, it's uplifting. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a great thing for someone like him to give us praise and show us some not just respect, but also show us some love on the back end. Obviously, this is a offense-driven league, but having our quarterback being who he is, able still to give us our props day in and day out, and obviously competing against us every day. We can learn from him too. I can ask him certain questions like, "Hey, what did you see? What are you reading?" and things like that to help us get the job done at the end of the day.
Last one right here.
Yeah, so what's the mentality you're taking to get through camp? I mean, these are seriously hard days with the weather and things like that. So what's the mentality you're taking?
One day at a time, man. One day at a time.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate it.